Welcome back to Jurassic World Kyoto. When most people imagine dinosaurs, they picture powerful predators, violent competition, and a world where only the strongest survive. But the fossil record tells a much more complex story. Dinosaurs were not simply monsters. Many were social animals that lived in herds, communicated with one another, and in some cases, devoted extraordinary care to raising their young. Few dinosaurs demonstrate that more clearly than Maiasaura. In this video, we're exploring the animal itself, everything there is to know about this dinosaur, and the design of a realistic Maiasaura exhibit created to turn it into a true park centerpiece. The name Maiasaura means good mother lizard. Unlike the familiar us ending used in many dinosaur names, Maiasaura was given a feminine ending in recognition of its connection to motherhood and parental care. The dinosaur was named by paleontologist Jack Horner after fossil hunter Larry Drexler discovered its remains in Montana's Two Medicine Formation in 1978. Later excavations revealed large nesting colonies containing eggs, hatchlings, juveniles, and adults. These findings suggested that Maiasaura returned to shared nesting grounds, lived in organized herds, and continued caring for its young after they hatched. This discovery helped transform our understanding of dinosaur behavior. Rather than abandoning their nest, Maiasaura parents may have guarded their colonies, brought food to their hatchlings, and protected them until they were strong enough to join the herd. Today, Maiasaura is recognized as a state fossil of Montana and remains one of the most scientifically important hadrosaurs ever discovered. Guests can experience the Good Mother's Valley through multiple viewing galleries, supervised feeding and interaction areas, a protected observation zone inside the habitat, and the Cretaceous Cruise, a guided kayak journey through the heart of the valley. But before we explore the exhibit itself, let us take a closer look at the remarkable dinosaur that inspired it. Maiasaura pibosaurum belongs to Hadrosauridae, the remarkably successful family of herbivorous dinosaurs better known as the duck-billed dinosaurs. More specifically, Maiasaura is classified with Brachyphosaurinae, a group that also includes Acrostabus, Brachylophosaurus, Ornatops, and Provicalapasaurus. Among these relatives, Maiasaura appears to share its closest evolutionary connection with Brachylophosaurus. A fully grown Maiasaura reaches approximately 30 feet in length and can weigh close to 4.5 tons. Its broad body, powerful hind legs, muscular tail, and elongated skull give it the classic profile of a large hadrosaur. The most distinctive feature is found directly above the eyes, where a short, solid crest rises from the skull. Unlike the elaborate head crest seen in some other hadrosaurs, the crest of Maiasaura is modest, but it still may play an important role in visual communication, individual recognition, or competition during the breeding season. At the front of the skull is a wide, flattened beak responsible for its familiar duck-bill appearance. Behind that beak are tightly packed rows containing hundreds of specialized teeth. As older teeth wear down, replacements continually move into position, creating an efficient dental system capable of processing large quantities of tough plant material. Maiasaura is an adaptive herbivore that feeds as both a browser and a grazer. Throughout the valley, the herd consumes leaves, ferns, flowering plants, branches, bark, and low-growing vegetation. The animals are also known to chew wood, including partially decayed wood, especially when softer seasonal plants become less abundant. Our animal care specialists provide the herd with a varied diet designed to encourage these natural feeding behaviors. Food is distributed throughout the habitat, requiring the animals to travel, browse, and forage rather than remaining around a single feeding station. Maiasaura is capable of moving on either 2 legs or 4. Young animals spend more time walking and running on their hind legs, while larger adults usually support their weight on all 4 limbs. When traveling calmly or feeding near the ground, an adult generally moves quadrupedally. However, when alarmed or attempting to accelerate, it can rise into its hind legs and move with surprising speed. Although Maiasaura lacks horns, armor, or other obvious defensive structures, it is far from helpless. A threatened adult can deliver powerful kicks, stomp at close range, or strike with its heavy muscular tail. Even so, its greatest protection comes from the herd. Maiasaura is an intensely social dinosaur. Individuals remain attentive to the movement and vocalization of nearby herd members, and a disturbance noticed by one animal can quickly alert the entire group. Large gatherings reduce the chance that any single individual will be isolated by a predator. Fossil bone beds suggest that wild herds once contained thousands of animals, possibly reaching as many as 10,000 individuals. While the population housed here in the Good Mother's Valley is considerably smaller, maintaining a healthy social group remains essential. A solitary Maiasaura can become stressed, restless, and uncomfortable, so every part of the habitat is designed around herd movement and social interaction. Those relationships become even more important during the nesting season. Female Maiasaura construct nests from soil and vegetation, arranging their eggs in circular or spiral patterns. A single nest can contain approximately 30 to 40 eggs, each similar in size to the egg of an ostrich and slightly pointed at one end. Rather than sitting directly on the eggs, which could risk crushing them under several thousand pounds of body weight, Maiasaura use vegetation to regulate the temperature of the nest. As the plant material decomposes, it releases heat, creating a natural incubator. Within the protected nesting grounds of Jurassic World Kyoto, our paleoveterinary and animal care teams closely monitor temperature, moisture, and microbial activity while allowing the adults to perform as much of the nesting process as possible without interference. When the hatchlings emerge, they are far less independent than the young of many modern reptiles. Their limbs are still developing and they cannot immediately follow the adults across the valley. Instead, they remain within the nesting area while the parents return with food and guard the colony. This vulnerable period is where Maiasaura truly earns its name, the Good Mother Lizard. Young Maiasaura grow at an extraordinary rate. During their first year, they can increase from approximately 60 inches long to nearly 5 feet. Hatchlings also possess proportionally larger eyes and shorter snouts than adults, giving them a noticeably different appearance during the earliest stages of life. As they become stronger, the juveniles begin leaving the immediate nest area and gathering in supervised nursery groups. They gradually learn the movement patterns, feeding routes, warning calls, and social behaviors of the adult herd. The fossil record indicates that the first year of life was extremely dangerous for wild Maiasaura. Individuals that survived infancy, however, had a much greater chance of reaching adulthood. They may have begun reproducing at approximately 3 years of age, although their skeletons continued developing until around 8. Because paleontologists have discovered hundreds of specimens representing nearly every stage of growth, Maiasaura provides one of the most complete dinosaur life histories ever reconstructed. Here in Jurassic World Kyoto, living herds allow researchers to compare those conclusions with direct observations for the first time. Guests can watch adults forage across the open valley, juveniles gather near the nesting grounds, and family groups communicate as they move between forested areas and communal feeding sites. And if you feel hungry or thirsty during your visit, you can stop for a coffee at Le Café Jurassic or visit the Baskin-Robbins truck for donuts and ice cream before continuing through the valley. Maiasaura may not possess the armor, horns, or towering crest found in other herbivorous dinosaurs, but its importance comes from something far more revealing. It gives us a window into dinosaur growth, communication, family structure, and parental care. Today, that story is no longer told through fossils alone. To understand how paleontologists first uncovered the evidence behind these behaviors, we now turn to the discoveries that transformed Maiasaura into one of the most important dinosaurs in the history of paleontology. The story of Maiasaura begins in 1978 among the exposed rocks of Montana's Two Medicine Formation, near the town of Chateau. Local fossil hunter Laurie Texler discovered the first remains that would eventually be recognized as a new kind of hadrosaur. The region had already produced scattered dinosaur fossils, but the discoveries that followed would transform into one of the most important paleontological sites in North America. That same year, fossil preparator Marion Brandbold uncovered a nest-like structure containing fragments of eggshells, embryos, and the remains of several young dinosaurs. These juveniles were not newly hatched. They had already grown considerably, yet they remained together within the nesting area. Nearby, researchers also found the remains of an adult. The close association between the adult, the juveniles, and the nest provided something paleontologists had never seen so clearly before: direct evidence that a large dinosaur may have remained near its offspring after they hatched. In 1979, paleontologists Jack Horner and Robert McKellar formally described the animal as Maiasaura peoplesaurum. Its name was carefully selected to reflect the significance of the discovery. Maia refers to the Greek goddess associated with motherhood, while Saura is the feminine form of the Greek word lizard. Together, Maiasaura translates to Good Mother Lizard. The species name Peoplesaurum honors the families of John and James Pebbles, on whose property many of the fossils were discovered. Continued excavation revealed that this was not simply an isolated nest. The surrounding area contained additional eggs, juveniles, adults, and nesting structures spread across an extensive breeding ground. The site soon became known as Egg Mountain. Within these nesting colonies, paleontologists discovered young Maiasaura at different stages of development. Some hatchlings possessed underdeveloped limbs, suggesting that they were not immediately capable of leaving the nest. At the same time, wear on their teeth indicated they had already begun eating. This combination of evidence led researchers to an extraordinary conclusion. Adult Maiasaura may have returned to the nest with food, caring for their offspring until the young were developed enough to move within the herd. Today, observations made here at Jurassic World Kyoto allow our animal behavior teams to examine these original interpretations alongside living animals. Adults remain attentive near communal nesting areas, young animals depend heavily on the protection of the herd, and family groups maintain close contact through movement and vocal communication. The fossils did not reveal every detail, but they provided the foundation for a remarkably accurate reconstruction of Maiasaura family life. More than 200 specimens have now been recovered, representing hatchlings, juveniles, developing adults, and fully grown animals. Few dinosaur species are known from such a complete range of ages. This extensive fossil record allows paleontologists to study how Maiasaura changed throughout its life. By comparing bones from individuals of different sizes, researchers can estimate growth rates, examine changes in posture, and determine when the animals reached reproductive and skeletal maturity. The discovery also renewed scientific interest in the two medicine formation. As more research teams arrived, they uncovered additional nesting grounds in several other kinds of dinosaurs. What began with a collection of unusual bones developed into a much broader picture of an entire late Cretaceous ecosystem. Maiasaura therefore represents more than the discovery of a new species. It marks a major turning point in how scientists understand dinosaur behavior. Before Egg Mountain, dinosaurs were often presented as solitary reptiles driven almost entirely by instinct. The Maiasaura nesting colonies demonstrated that at least some species gathered in enormous social groups, returned to established breeding grounds, and invested considerable time and energy in the survival of their young. Fossils first introduced the world to the good mother lizard. Today, the living herds of Jurassic World Kyoto allow that story to continue. But Maiasaura did not live alone. To understand the pressures that shaped its herd, nesting colonies, and protective behavior, we must now reconstruct the ancient environment it shared with the other animals of the two medicine formation. To understand Maiasaura, we must look beyond the animal itself and examine the world that shaped it. Maiasaura originally inhabited western North America during the late Cretaceous period, with fossils discovered across what is now Montana and the Canadian province of Alberta. At the time, the continent looked very different from the landscape we recognize today. A vast, shallow body of water known as the Western Interior Seaway divided North America into eastern and western landmasses. Maiasaura lived along the western side of that sea, in a region influenced by coastal plains, rivers, seasonal wetlands, and broad forested environments. The climate was generally warm, but conditions were not always tropical or consistently wet. Evidence from the two medicine formations suggests that the region experienced long seasonal dry periods, including droughts that placed considerable pressure on both plants and animals. The landscape supported a mixture of ancient and increasingly modern vegetation. Conifers, cycads, ferns, and other gymnosperms grew alongside flowering plants, which were becoming more widespread during the late Cretaceous. This variety provided Maiasaura with leaves, barks, branches, low-growing vegetation, and woody material throughout the year. The environment also supported a diverse community of smaller animals. Amphibians, lizards, turtles, crocodilians, and early mammals occupied the rivers, forests, and undergrowth surrounding the dinosaur herds. Maiasaura shared this landscape with several other herbivorous dinosaurs. Smaller lithopods such as Orodromios moved through the lower vegetation, while armored dinosaurs such as Edmontonia relied on heavy defensive plating for protection. Ceratopsians, including Ankylosaurus and Inusaurus, added powerful horns, frills, and strong beaks to the region's herbivore population. Maiasaura was also not the only hadrosaur in the ecosystem. Gryposaurus, Hypacrosaurus, Procerolophus, and other duck-billed dinosaurs occupied similar environments, although they may have reduced competition by favoring different plants, feeding heights, or seasonal ranges. Fossil discoveries have shown that the separation between these dinosaur communities was probably less distinct than scientists once believed. Species previously thought to belong to different sections of the formation may have overlapped in both geography and time, creating a more complex ecosystem than early reconstruction suggested. Farther north, in deposits such as Alberta's Oldman Formation, Maiasaura occupied environments containing an even broader variety of dinosaurs. These included horned dinosaurs such as Chasmosaurus and Wendiceratops, armored Scolosaurs, the small herbivore Albertodromios, and hadrosaurs such as Brachylophosaurus, Corythosaurus, and Parasaurolophus. However, these rich herbivore communities also supported an equally diverse collection of predators. Smaller hunters such as Bamphiraptor, Ceronitholistes, and Heperonychus likely targeted hatchlings, juveniles, and other animals separated from protection of the herd. Troodonids, including Stenonychosaurus, and animals historically identified as Troodon, would have added another group of agile, lightly built predators to the environment. The greatest danger came from the tyrannosaurs. Gorgosaurus and Daspletosaurus were among the largest predators in the region, with Daspletosaurus likely occupying the position of apex predator in many of the environments associated with Maiasaura. Long before the appearance of Tyrannosaurus rex, these powerful hunters were already placing intense pressure on North America's large herbivores. For an individual Maiasaura, outrunning or overpowering a large Tyrannosaur would have been extremely difficult. Survival depended on early detection, coordinated movement, and the protection provided by thousands of nearby herd members. This explains why social behavior is so central to the species. Large herds gave adult Maiasaura more eyes and ears with which to detect danger. They also placed vulnerable juveniles towards the safe interior of the group. During nesting season, communal colonies allowed many adults to remain near the young, increasing the chances that approaching predators would be noticed before reaching the nest. This herd became a living defense system, one shaped by an environment filled with seasonal hardship, competition, and constant predatory pressure. Today, the herds maintained at Jurassic World Kyoto allow our researchers to study how these instincts continue to influence living Maiasaura. The animals naturally gather when disturbed, adults position themselves near young members, and changes in the surrounding environment can quickly alter the movement of the entire group. Every forest edge, feeding ground, waterway, and nesting site within the Good Mother's Valley is influenced by what we know about this ancient ecosystem. Now that we understand the world Maiasaura originally called home, we can examine how that prehistoric environment was recreated through design and construction of its Jurassic World Kyoto exhibit. Welcome to Jurassic World Kyoto, the newest destination in the Jurassic World family. Japan was selected for its rare combination of natural beauty and geographic isolation. Its island setting supports the highest standards of containment, while its cherry blossoms, bamboo groves, volcanic cliffs, and coastal landscapes create a setting unlike any other Jurassic World destination. Situated between our Ankylodocus habitat, Maiasaura, the Good Mother's Valley, is one of the park's newest signature exhibits. It is designed to challenge the idea that every dinosaur must be defined by aggression, competition, or fear. Instead, this habitat presents a different side of prehistoric life, one centered on cooperation, family bonds, and the remarkable care of Maiasaura provides for its young. The enclosure recreates a broad late Cretaceous floodplain with open grazing fields, shaded forests, rocky cliffs, waterfalls, sandy nesting grounds, and a winding river running through the center of the valley. Adult Maiasaura move freely across the landscape while juveniles remain close to protect the nesting and feeding areas. The exhibit's wide clearing give the herd room to travel together, while desert woodland provides shade, privacy, and opportunities for natural browsing. At the heart of the valley is a sheltered basin surrounded by mature planting and anchored by a dramatic waterfall. This cooler section of the habitat provides drinking water, shaded resting areas, and one of the most scenic views available anywhere in Jurassic World Kyoto. Working alongside our paleobotanical teams, landscape designers populated the valley with plant life selected to recreate the variety and structure of a Cretaceous ecosystem. Aquatic plants such as hydrilla grow throughout the waterways, while reeds and common bulrushes line the riverbanks. Bramble, lingonberry, hawthorn, arrowwood, manzanita, white sage, thyme, and nettle flowers provide dense ground cover across the habitat. Tree ferns, swamp cypresses, oaks, maples, elms, larches, spruce, ponderosa pines, and giant red cedars create multiple levels of vegetation for feeding, shelter, and exploration. The exhibit floor is equally important. Maiasaura are provided with grass, soil, sand, dirt, and straw across different sections of the valley. These varied substrates allow the animals to dig, forage, rest, and construct nests using the materials they naturally prefer. The nesting grounds are positioned within view of the main galleries, giving guests an opportunity to observe nest construction, egg care, and interaction between adults and juveniles from a respectable distance. At its core, the Good Mother's Valley is designed around choice. A successful habitat is not defined by size alone. It must provide animals with the ability to make decisions within their environment. A Maiasaura can move between sunlight and shade, dry ground and shallow water, open fields and secluded woodland. It can approach the herd, avoid another individual, explore different feeding areas, or withdraw from guest view entirely. This flexibility is essential for both behavioral and psychological health. Although every managed environment creates certain limitations, thoughtful design and expert husbandry allow the animals to express their natural behavior safely and comfortably. A dedicated separation zone is located away from the main guest routes. This secluded area allows individuals to rest within minimal disturbance and provide discreet access for veterinary staff, animal care specialists, and ranger teams. Behind the scenes, a specialized husbandry complex supports daily feeding, health examinations, safe transfers, and long-term reproductive care. Every guest encounter is supported by teams working continuously to maintain the highest standards of animal management. Visitors can experience the valley from several perspectives, Two elevated viewing galleries offer panoramic views across the habitat, each revealing a different part of the herd's daily routine. One gallery connects to a smaller nursery areas where guests can help feed juvenile Maiasaura under the supervisor of trained staff. A separate encounter area allows visitors to gently feed and interact with younger animals while learning how the park manages early development, socialization, and welfare. For a more immersive view, a protected entrance leads into the center of the enclosure. From its secure observation areas, guests can watch the herd graze, communicate, and care for its young from a short distance away. The Maiasaura Cretaceous Cruise offers another perspective entirely. This guided kayak journey follows the river through forested nesting grounds, rocky waterways, and open grazing areas. From water level, guests can watch Maiasaura moving along the banks while experiencing the scale of the habitat from inside the valley itself. Guests interested in learning more can also visit the nearby research center. Their interactive exhibits explore Maiasaura growth, nesting behavior, and parental care. It also provides a welcome air-conditioned break before continuing throughout the park. As part of Jurassic World Kyoto's ongoing expansion, visitors may still notice newly planted groves, construction activity in the distance, and the continuing development of future attractions. That progress reflects our commitment to creating new environments where guests can safely encounter living dinosaurs while supporting research, education, and animal welfare. Maiasaura, the Good Mother's Valley, reminds us that the story of dinosaurs is also a story of communities, cooperation, and parents protecting the next generation. You can encounter this remarkable dinosaur at one of our world-class Jurassic World destinations. From the original park on Isla Nublar to Jurassic World Cascadia and the Olympic Peninsula, discover living prehistoric wonders in the Dolomite Mountains at Jurassic World Sanctuary, or visit our destinations in San Diego, Manchester, Crete, and our newest expansion here in Kyoto, Japan. Thank you for joining us for this closer look at Maiasaura, the Good Mother Lizard. And with that, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this look at Maiasaura and the Good Mother's Valley, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for the next video, which will be Eutyrannus.